So let's check out the All-mighty Saturator. Saturator or saturation is very light distortion. It's also a harmonic exciter. It changes the harmonic content of the sound. And it can also be a complete distortion unit or a sound design, or simply just beef up your sound, make him sound stronger and more powerful. So right here I have just a wavetable loaded up with a basic sine wave. And we have a harmonic or a spectrum analyzer loaded up and oscilloscope to show us kind of the waveform. So if I play it, we can see we have a sine wave. Let me normalize it. We have a sine wave, and the sine wave only consists of one frequency, which is the fundamental frequency. It's actually the note that I'm hitting. Nice. Now, most instruments are not actually only playing the fundamental frequency. They're playing many more frequencies above that. For example, when you play a C note on the piano, it's not actually playing only the C note, but it's actually playing a lot of other notes above that, which are called harmonics. So if I change the waveform from sine wave to something slightly different, like a triangle, we can see all those harmonics are being added on top of that. If I go to a saw, it's all the harmonics, or if I go to a square, it's just the odd harmonics. We have even and odd harmonics. So let's go back to a sine wave. Nice. Now right here, let me turn on the saturator. Now what saturator does, it's actually changing the harmonic content, adding, changing it, enhancing it, whatever that may be. So I'm going to turn on the saturator. Right now it doesn't do much, but if I start to drive it, let me go back here to the analog clip. If I start to drive it, we're going to see some harmonics being added. Another thing we can see is that the waveform in the oscilloscope, let me unnormalize it, the oscilloscope is actually starting to get curved whenever it reaches the peak, the top, the peak amplitude, just clipping. So that's what the saturation will do. It's going to start to curve it out as it starts to clip and going to add a lot of harmonics in all sorts of ways. So the drive is the main knob to decide how much we're driving the actual saturator. Here in the middle, the XY will display the curve that we're using right now, and we can change between multiple different types of saturation. So let's see the soft sine. Let's drive it. We can see it's a different harmonic content, giving us a different type of distortion. We also have the cyanide fold, which is kind of more for sound design. It will fold, as we can see, it folds the wavetape or the waveform in this case, or the sound into itself, into a sine wave. We have digital clip. Again, it has its own harmonic content. And lastly, we also have Wave Shaper, and Wave Shaper will have the 6 controls that will allow us to shape the waves in all sorts of ways. So drive determines how much of the input signal will be influenced by the Wave Shaper. Lean works with the curve and depth knob together, and it's going to alter the linear portion of the shaping curve. We have the actual curve, which mostly add third-order harmonics. Damp flattens the signal near the grid's origin, so it behaves like a noise gate. Depth controls the amplitude of the built-in sine wave that is superimposed on the distortion. And period determine the density of ripples in that superimposed sine wave. So those are 6 controls to completely reshape the sound and do some crazy sound design. Let's go back to analog clip. Now right here we have DC. DC, if you activate it, it will remove, it's a DC filter, a direct current filter, so it will remove any sounds that might have that, usually from things that are more analog recorded, especially modular gear and stuff like that, but it can influence even in high distortions on digital sound. Next, we have color, and color are two built-in filters that change the saturation and the harmonic enhancement. First, we have bass that determines how much of the saturation will be applied to low frequencies. So as you go up, it's mostly high frequencies. When you go down, it's more on the low frequencies. And here we have those three knobs that decides the second filter, which is more in charge of high frequencies. Here you can change the frequency of where it's actually filtering, the width of the filter, and how much. So it allows us to further shape the sound. Next, we have soft clip. The soft clip will actually be another analog clip saturation that is applied at the end. So right here we can see that we're actually clipping, but if I turn on the soft clip, it's gonna turn it, let's turn it down actually. Here we go, we're clipping a tiny bit, but the soft clip will make sure it's applying another clipping stage at the output of the saturator. Here we have the actual meter. This will show us how much of the effect we're applying to the sound. We have the output of the device, where we can turn down if we like what we're actually doing with the saturator. We can turn down the output if it's too loud. And the dry wet if you want to mix in the saturated signal with the dry signal. We can also fold the saturator to show less of the XY pad to make it more compact. And we can also right-click and choose high quality, which is on by default. This will take a bit more CPU, but will help with very high frequency, very high-pitched material to make it sound a bit smoother, to prevent any aliasing and stuff like that. Nice. So that is the saturator and a harmonic exciter, changing the harmonic content of the sound, clipping the edges out of the signal as we drive it, and can do a lot from just beefing up your sounds to completely distort them to some sound design with all the special algorithms for saturation. Check out the presets that come with it. There's a very popular one, the first one a bit warmer, just to make things a bit more beefier and stronger. You can always change the drive if it's too much, or if it's too little, turn it up, and change the output, and of course the dry wet to mix between the saturated signal or not. This is an extremely useful effect. You can feel free to put it on most things to just beef them up, to make them stronger, to make them more powerful, but it will, as much as you push it more, will change the harmonic content of the sound, and will of course clip off the edges of the waveforms. So saturator, extremely useful, worth exploring and using in all your projects.